So you've been playing that guitar and it does not sound the way you want it to sound. Your fingers are killing you, it doesn't sound in tune, and you see other people doing this and they make it look so easy and you just can't figure it out. Well, I'm Kevin from Relax and Learn Guitar, where you're never too old to learn. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why it may not have anything to do with you and something to do with that guitar. So let's get started. So I loved my first guitar. My brother actually won it at a church raffle. It was a very cheap, like a Gibson copy. It was not the greatest guitar in the world. Now I have a lot of sentimental value and I really much appreciate that guitar and what it means to me. I still actually own it. It lives at my mom's house. But there was something about that first guitar that may be the same thing going on with some of you guys out there. And it was really difficult to play. And no matter like how often I tuned it, and I, bought the Electrica tuner and I was going to my lessons and I'm thinking, what is going on? And I think my guitar teacher was just being nice when we would have practice and he would see me struggling. But there's a couple of things with that guitar. It's pretty banged up now, and it went through a lot of mileage. I probably played it for probably a couple of years before I got another one. And the thing with the first guitar, and a mistake folks make a lot, is, I'm brand new and I get my first guitar, I maybe spend like $100 on it because it's, I don't want to overspend on something you may not be able to do kind of thing. And a lot of the issues have to do with the strings on the guitar and what's called action. So action is basically a fancy word. I don't know if you can tell in this video or not, but the action is the distance between your strings and your fretboard. And you can see on this guitar, it's pretty low. You want low action. Now, why does that matter? Especially for beginner guitarists. When you first start playing, it might be something that gives you a little bit of pain, like you got to press down on the strings, especially playing an acoustic guitar, which I actually recommend to start with for many reasons. That's another video. But when you're pressing down on the strings, if it's further down and you got to push further and put more pressure, that's going to be a little more challenging and a little more painful. So when you have the action on your guitar that's lower, and if you're struggling because your fingers are hurting and you've got a lot of pain going on, I'm not a doctor, but I can help you out. Check out this video when you're done with this one and you can learn how to tackle those sore fingers and take care of those. So on a well-made guitar, the action's going to be, much better, and you can take that guitar and have your local guitar shop, support local shops, set that guitar up for you and adjust it. If you like this lesson so far, be sure and click that like button. I would really appreciate it. With some of the beginner guitars that are out there in that $100 or less price range, not a whole lot you can do with them. The other issue is tuners. Like a lot of times on cheaper guitars, what they're going to skimp on price is going to be the tuners and the hardware. And no matter what you do, like tuning that guitar isn't going to stay in tune until you have a guitar that's made correctly. I'm not even going to go into like the sound. So with a more quality guitar, you have usually solid woods that sound better over time, and the tone is nice. With a beginner guitar, I think the most important thing is playability. If you have a beginner guitar and it's not something that feels good to play or you're not having success with, and your odds of sticking with it go way down. My mom, for example, so a couple years ago, wanted to take up the guitar, and my old one was still hanging out there, and she started on that one. I was visiting one day and noticed that she's like, hey, let me show you this, and she was showing me some of the chords she was playing. I said, Mom, you really need to think about getting a different guitar, especially considering the one she was playing was what I was, 30 years old or whatever. So upgraded, bought I'm not talking like a ton of money, like the $300 to $500 price range is probably going to be a major upgrade when you first start out. That's what she did, and it was a world of difference and made such a big change in mentality because it felt good to practice and it felt good to do something that sounded the way it was sounding in your head, basically. Also had a member at our Relax on Guitar membership, Chuck, who was, going through the lessons in order, checking things off, doing everything he should do, coming to our live lessons and improving some, but still really struggling. And when I had asked him, what kind of guitar are you playing? It was a pretty cheap guitar. He did go out and upgrade again. I'm not talking tons of money. It's amazing what some beginner guitars now in like the $300 to $500 price range, what they accomplish. Now, back in my day, it makes me sound old, you couldn't really get that kind of guitar for that price, and it wasn't as easy. There was no such thing as Amazon and Guitar Center and all that jazz. So anyway, Chuck picked up a better guitar and vast improvements, and now he's taking that guitar to the campground and he's hanging out on his porch and he's loving it, and it does make a really big difference about the kind of guitar that you're playing. So the big takeaways are you want to have a guitar, especially first starting out, that has some low action, so the strings are closer to the fretboard and easier to play. You've got some hardware and tuners that actually work and stay in tune. And then you kind of get a bonus because the tone and the sound of the guitar is going to be an improvement pretty much over whatever you're playing. Now the other thing is kind of size of guitar. My first guitar was a big old jumbo dreadnought. I'm talking like in this guitar that I play now, this Martin, it's a dreadnought size, but you want to find one that's also going to be a nice size for you. I actually have a video, you can check it out here, where I talk about a Dreadnought Junior. So a smaller guitar might be good for folks, especially with the size of their hands, and it's a really nice guitar, so check out that video when you're done with this one. So be sure and choose a guitar that you enjoy playing. Come back here to the YouTube channel and watch some of those lessons on popular songs and tips. And if you'd like to check out this video on choosing your first guitar, lots of great information in there, check that out. Remember, you're never too old to learn, and I'll see you guys for the next lesson.